All right. I didn't come very planned for this. I was kind of thinking about how I want to start the video, but primero que nada, I have reached 1,500 hours of comprehensible input. I will emphasize that it's comprehensible input. It is not solely dreaming Spanish, which I know that's where a lot of you guys are coming from in the community. So just to preference, this is not a journey that I took. The journey that I took was definitely the one that's not suggested, so to speak. And I'm getting to that a little later. But I want to thank, first and foremost, the Most High. I never thought in my life I would be able to even understand Spanish. So the fact that I'm at this point is something that blows my mind. I know hard work, faith that works is dead. I get all that, but I've been doing Spanish practice or classes for years and didn't learn anything out of it. So to see such a huge increase in 8 months, a little less than 8 months now, is astonishing. Secondly, Dreaming Spanish, the program. Most importantly, I want to thank, because I watched most of her videos, was Andrea. I know she's not with Dreaming Spanish anymore, but I still watch her videos. She's a great teacher. Now to highlight, I've only really watched, I watched 800 some videos, but you tally up all the hours, it wasn't more than 167 or something like that. It wasn't a lot of hours, honestly. So most of my journey was outside of YouTube, or was outside of the program. So that's why I kind of wanted to start off and think, I didn't really do the recommended method. But before I get to that, again, I don't want to jump myself too many times. The second person or people I would like to thank is the community. Most importantly, I wanted to highlight 2 individuals. 3 I watched the most. I don't remember so one of them was the couple. It was a brother and his wife. They recently moved to Spain, but they stopped posting as much, and I think they stopped really focusing on Dreaming Spanish as much. But they were cool to kind of watch. Again, you're figuring out when you're first doing this, if this is worth it, time is worth it, what success stories there are. And there's not a whole lot of videos of people who've made it this far. I know on the Reddit, there's people who've documented, but not necessarily filmed it. And that's kind of why, because I wasn't going to film it either from the beginning, but I realized that I want to look at it again. And there might be people who will get some type of reconfirmation like I did. Second person, I really want to emphasize him, is Brian. He's the GOAT. He's not the GOAT, but he's a really, no offense, Brian. If you see this, no offense. You're dope, Brian. I like you a lot. I like your personality. I was inspired a lot. I still am inspired by your journey. I know you're at like 2,400 hours or more now. You went to Costa Rica several times. But you helped a lot give clarity on what this looks like. So I appreciate that. I still reference a lot of, every step of the way I reference a lot of what you say. You and Angela. Angela's a new one. I know she just posted a video I've not watched. I passed her now, so it's kind of like, but she was one who was always 300 hours ahead of me, or like 200 hours ahead of me. So I was always kind of like trying to check on her videos to see if me and her were matching the same pace. Honestly, knowing I wasn't following the Dreaming Spanish method, so to speak, I didn't know if there would be adverse effects. So again, appreciate those 3 groups or channels specifically. Brian, appreciate it. Keep doing it, man. Your videos do help. They help reassure, and it makes sense. Now let's get to the journey itself. I started doing this in August 1st. Before that, I did a month of Bible. And that didn't work out very well because my in-laws came and they spoke Spanish straight from Chihuahua, I believe. And I didn't understand anything. I couldn't even greet them. It was an embarrassing time for me. So I realized I needed something different. found Dreaming Spanish. I thought it was a great idea, concept. I gave it a shot. And for majority of the time, I would say up until around 150 hours, I just gave it strictly Dreaming Spanish. Because I didn't know anything else. Now, if you look at my first video I posted, I believe I started talking about I was watching some children animes at that point. Looking back, I might have waited a little longer, but honestly, I'm at the same point I think I would have been anyway if I kept watching in Spanish consistently. And I do watch it. I watch some episodes here and there if I like it. If I'm interested in the topic, I watch Shell, Agustina. So we don't always already watch. But I do watch them. It just depends. But, man. That's my son, sorry. But, normally I'm walking around when I'm talking, so I was trying to sit down, but he's not going to let me do that. I know, Papa. But, so, getting back to the journey itself. Comprehensible input works. I will say I'm not fluid. The map is, in my personal opinion, is wrong on one crucial point. And that is when it says by hour 1000, you will have most of the grammar covered. And I think that was a huge... Now, mind you, maybe because I wasn't in Dreaming Spanish as long. I did a lot of advanced videos. I was watching anime primarily from hour 500 up. That was probably what I was getting my input in. No, it was podcast and anime, right? But the anime, I was just into it. Didn't understand everything, but eventually, poco poco, I picked up on what it was saying, what was going on. So it helped a lot. But I will say, I don't agree with by 1,000 hours you got all the grammar. There's so many tenses. And it's like, I can't see how you would understand all of that by 1,000 hours. But if you did, no te toques así. If you did understand it, you'd be in a really good advantage point. I think having a strong understanding of how the language flows grammatically helps a lot, because I know by 1,000 hours, that's when I started Worlds Across. I did Worlds Across. I think that was when Angela had posted her first video about Worlds Across and how she's going to try it. So you can kind of date back when I hit 1,000 hours based off of when she dropped that video, because not that anyone cares, but that's when I'm going to give it a shot. She's going to give it a shot. Again, we were very close as far as hours at that point. I was probably an hour or 2 hours or 200 hours off of her. So I started a week or two after she had posted that video. Signed up using her code and everything and gave it a shot for about a month. And I realized very quickly I'm wasting my time. Not that Worlds Across is bad. I may go back and do it later. The problem with Worlds Across is I didn't have enough grasp of just the flow of the language to even get any legitimate speaking practice in. And again, that could have just been me. Just me not understanding enough. But by 1,000 hours, I didn't have that eureka moment where I felt like, man, I know I'm doing that. I crossed that certain threshold of understanding by 700 hours. And by maybe 1,200 or so, there was another threshold that I crossed of understanding. But speaking was nowhere. That took, honestly, the speaking threshold changed by about 1,370 to 1,400. And at that point, I was already done with the 1 month trial, or the 1 month session. And I just didn't want to go back and waste more time. Now, I do want to go back eventually, now that I have a little more of a grasp of the language. At that point, about 1,300 to 1,400 hours I started having dreams again in Spanish. Mind you, I think I talked about it one time, but the first time I had a dream in Spanish, I want to say it was about 400 to 600 hours. And I hadn't had one since. So the next one I had was about that 1,300 hour point. And that's when it kind of changed for me. I got sick. And I want to preference this by saying I do believe rest matters. Because mind you, I did all this in 8 months or a little less. And I never gave myself a chance to kind of break. So I'm doing 6 hours a day, average wise. So 4 days most days, 4 hours most days, or 4.5, 5 hours most days. And then some days I'll do 7 hours, some days I'll do 10 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, 7. So it averages about 6.5. 6.4 is what I did the math on a day. But I didn't give myself a break, honestly, because I just wanted to see. I didn't want it to affect me. Yes, thank you. Yes, I didn't want to waste any time. I want to get this done as fast as possible. But I got sick at about 1,300 hours, and I noticed a significant change. When I got sick, I didn't listen to Spanish nearly as much. Maybe 30 minutes a day, sometimes an hour. And that's when I had the dreams again. And that's when my understanding that I had a really intense dream where I was really putting the way to speak together in my head. That was the dream, is how to put the language together. And that was crucial. Because after that, I did see the change. I did feel like, if I went back towards a cross, it wouldn't be too difficult. Or I wouldn't feel like I wasted my time so much. But again, that was at 1,300 hours versus 1,000 hours. You know what I mean? So that matters. Those little details matter. But going back on topic, my takeaway from 1,500 hours, kind of like Brian has been kind of preaching for the last, couple months now. I can see in maybe 300 more hours to 500 that I will be at where the Dreaming Spanish guideline says you'll be at 1,500 hours. And the reason I say that now is I'm gonna drop a video of my speaking ability with my wife later, who is fluent in Spanish. I can speak, and I'm gonna hold it a little bit because I want to kind of just do a raw coverage, because I've never really sat down. I sat down once with my wife to do a speaking practice while I was at maybe 400 or 500 hours, no, 600 hours. 600 hours. I tried speaking like the guideline says, because I wanted to have a good accent, and it was horrible. Horrible. So it's gonna be interesting for even her to see how I speak now, because she doesn't really know either. She's like, she knows I know a lot more words, but to be able to speak, we're gonna see. I don't know if I can speak or not. I don't know. I talk sometimes at the job, and it gets choppy sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It's choppy because I'm nervous, but I do know I'm learning very fast as I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm learning fast about what not to do, and I'm going to put water, okay? Okay. So what I've noticed, accent-wise, saying certain words, now that I have ability to say words, I have to be very conscious of not using an English mouth, not using an English mouth, I guess so. Because I have to pronounce certain words, it just takes a lot more thought. Or not thought, but it takes a lot more carefulness. Because I'm not really thinking. Por ejemplo, si quiero hablar como un nativo, necesito pensar un poco porque mi lengua y mi boca mueve un poco raro. Okay. So the tongue and the mouth moves a little weird. So I feel like I'm saying certain words that if it was pronounced better, it'd make more sense to a native. That's my problem right now. But I can speak. I definitely can. There's some words and there's a lot of tenses I still don't understand. And it goes back to the grammar point. I don't understand all the tenses, so it's hard to use all the words that you know because you don't know what tense to use it sometimes. Now, at 1,500 hours, I know a lot more tenses. It's cool. I can communicate. But it's still not to the point where I feel like I'm fluent. All right? So, ahí está. See? All right. What do I want to say before I get off of this? A couple things to look forward to when you hit 1,500 hours. Music is a lot more attainable. It's a lot more comprehensible. And that's something that I've really enjoyed recently is the music aspect. The slangs are funny. The jokes are funny. You get more jokes. You feel a lot more connected to what it means to be a part of the culture, so to speak. And your personality in Spanish starts to develop a little bit. I know my wife always says I'm funnier in Spanish than I am in English, which is, I don't know. But that's what she says. She said, you have a funny personality in Spanish. And maybe that's because I watch a lot of community or funny type guys. But that's what I've noticed specifically. I'm going to probably continue having the Dream of Spanish subscription for another, 500 hours maybe. By 2,000 hours, I'm not going to want to keep it because I'm not going to watch the videos anymore, honestly. Outside of the free ones because they're just not that interesting anymore. But they're a necessity. Don't get me wrong, they're a necessity. And I'll get into that topic. They're a necessity because when you go through these weird phases where you feel like you know a lot and then you feel like you don't know shit, excuse my French, you have to go back to those intermediate or advanced videos because they really help boost your confidence back up or at least let you know you're doing something right. You're learning something. I know people always talk about having benchmark videos and shows like that. That's great to do. I had La Fea Mas Bella, the Mexican version. I watched that when I was like 200 hours and 600 hours and 1,000 hours and watched it recently like 1,300. Huge difference. Went from knowing 1% of what was being said to knowing like 50, 60%. Being able to stay in those conversations without just getting lost. That matters. That really does. But I would say when you're feeling like, man, I'm not doing anything right, or I'm not learning anything, you gotta remember, hey, this is a process. This is a long, drawn out process. I guess that'll be my final comments for today. This method works for me because of my job. I don't have time to sit here and study books or read grammar logs. I don't have the time. So this was perfect for me. It would have been too long of a journey, at least for my patience, to do it if I had to spend years doing it. Because this is a journey. If you're not rushing or pushing, I don't know what they call it now. Like I was 6 hours a day. This takes a long time to get to this point. 1,500 hours in 8 months. I know it's not normal. I know it's not common. I don't even recommend it fully, honestly, because it's very stressful on the mind. The first 4 months were hell, so to speak. My mind was so resistant and so angry at me. Those first 800 hours were the worst. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was going through emotional changes because it was just so much stress. And then after that, it relaxed. It got easier. But getting even over the 600 to 800 hour mark was very difficult because I didn't give myself a break. Now, that's why I'm saying breaks matter. Breaks matter, and you should do it. But I didn't have the patience to sit here and do this for more than a couple of years. Now knowing what I know, I'll be at 2,000 hours by June, and I should be at 2,500 by September, and 3,000 by December. that shit matters. I'm just being honest. That shit fucking matters. Excuse my French. I mean, it's a long journey if you're just listening to content. Now, I do a little reading, but not nearly enough to even really speak about it too much because I'm lazy. But I can read basic books, you know, that matters too. But mostly just listening. This is a long journey. If you don't have the patience, I suggest pushing. I really do. So that's all I got for today. Next time I have a video, it will be the speaking one, the 1,500 hour speaking video. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.